Here's how you can use AI automation to quickly create game-changing content that will drive new users to your product. This company grew to 500,000 followers and $10,000 a month in revenue by automating short-form video content. This company powers all their content generation with one person using 40 AI agents. And this company launched multiple profitable SaaS products using AI to brainstorm, script, and generate high-converting videos at scale. These companies didn't just build great products, they also built AI-powered content engines to drive growth. They generate massive output faster than 10-person teams and use that consistent content to blow up growth without paying for customers. In this video, I'll show you how to build a simple yet powerful AI-powered content engine to automate idea generation and script writing for short-form video, so you can achieve the kind of reach and growth other SaaS teams are getting with AI automation. With this system in place, you'll only need to invest 1 to 2 hours a week in order to generate a pipeline of video scripts that you can use to post 1 to 2 shorts a day on YouTube and TikTok. If you want access to the exact N8N workflow that I showed you how to build, click on the link below and I'll give you a free copy. Don't forget to like and follow so you can get access to more amazing automations that you can use to grow your SaaS business. Let's dive in. Let's look at a high-level diagram of how the entire automation works. The automation has 3 workflows. The first workflow is initiated by Discord or Slack. In Discord, you'll run a command called generate ideas, and that will call the first workflow, which will use a set of inputs and will generate a list of ideas for you. Those inputs include 2 customized inputs that you provide and a third input, which is a context of different angles that can be used to generate videos. The content pillars are basically your content strategy. It defines what content categories you want to include. Those topics and categories are obviously related to your target audience. The content pillars and target audience will work together to inform this workflow along with the video angles as to what types of ideas to generate. After you run that, it will generate a list of ideas, send them back to Discord, and you'll be able to look at those, and then you'll pick one of those ideas and it will use those ideas to generate a set of fleshed out content angles with different video hooks. Then you'll take that and you'll select one of the angles that you like the most, and it'll generate 3 different scripts for you using very well established and battle tested script structures that are great for generating YouTube shorts and TikTok videos. We're using several tools for this automation. I'm not going to walk you through how to sign up and install each of these tools. There are a ton of tutorials online where you can learn how to get up and running with each of them. First up is N8N, an open source workflow automation tool that will power our entire automation. Within N8N, you'll need to set up 2 community nodes. You can do this by going into the N8N settings under your profile icon and then scrolling to the bottom and going to community nodes. You'll need to install the N8N nodes Discord trigger node so we can interface with Discord, and the N8N nodes data store so we can store our ideas between workflows. Under the N8N credentials screen, you'll need to set up credentials for your Discord app account, your Discord webhook account, and OpenAI account. Next, we'll be using Discord. Discord will be used for messaging the AI automation in N8N and seeing the content and script ideas. You'll also need to go to the Discord developer portal and set up an application and a bot so we can use the bot to listen for commands and interface with N8N. You can access the Discord developer portal at discord.com/developers. Finally, we'll use OpenAI to make calls to a GPT language model to generate our ideas and video scripts. You'll need an OpenAI API key that you generate in the OpenAI developer platform and configure inside of N8N. You can set up a new API key for OpenAI by going to platform.openai.com. Let's walk through how to build the first workflow. The first workflow will generate new ideas for us by taking an input from Discord, processing it through a prompt using OpenAI, and then spitting out a list of ideas back in Discord. First, we need a Discord trigger node. You can add one by pressing Tab or clicking the plus sign to go to the Open Nodes panel on the top right. In there, you'll type Discord and you'll see the Discord trigger node. Inside of the Discord trigger configuration, you'll have to point it to the credential for your Discord app, set up the event to be message created. You'll point it to the Discord channel that you want to listen on. Then you'll set the trigger prefix to !generate-ideas. That's the string your bot will look for, and when it finds it, it will initiate this workflow. The next thing we need is to set up the inputs that we need to pass into our prompt. We can do that by opening the nodes panel and typing set or edit fields and adding a new node. Inside of that node configuration, we'll have to set up a set of key value pairs for the various inputs that we need. The first is our content pillars, the second is our target audience, and the third is the guidance on how to generate ideas using various angles. The next step is to actually call OpenAI to run our prompt. We can do that by opening the nodes panel and typing OpenAI. Inside of the OpenAI configuration, we'll point it to our OpenAI account credentials. We'll set the resource to text. We'll say message a model, and I'm picking the 4.0 latest ChatGPT model, and then we provide our prompt. The prompt is designed to take the various inputs that we provided, the angles, the target audience, and the pillars, and use those to generate a set of ideas. If you scroll down, you see that the structure that it's returning is going to be a JSON structure with an array of ideas. Each of the ideas is going to pick from one of the content angles, one of your content pillars. It's going to generate an idea, and then it's going to give you some details in the description and notes. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll see that we're referencing the inputs that we set up in the previous step. That prompt is going to generate a list of 10 ideas. What we want to do next is store those ideas in a data store and then finally send them to Discord so that the user can select one of them. In order to store them in a data store, we need to define a unique identifier for each idea. We can do that by adding a code node after the OpenAI call. You can find that by clicking the node panel and typing code. Inside of there, we create a function that knows how to generate a unique ID, and then we iterate over each of the ideas that came back from the LLM, and we store them into a JSON structure. That JSON structure has a set of key value pairs where the key is the unique ID we generated and the value is the JSON structure for the idea. Next, we're going to create a data store and set the values into that data store. You can do that by opening the nodes panel and typing data store. Inside of the data store configuration, you're going to set operation to set, and that's going to allow you to set a key and a value. The key is the generated ID, and the value is the JSON structure for the idea. Before we send the ideas to Discord, we also want to be able to enumerate through them, and we do that with one more code node right before we call Discord. In the configuration for that code node, we set the mode to run once for each item, language JavaScript, and then we iterate over each item and set an index. Finally, we're going to send the ideas to Discord. You can do that by opening the nodes panel and typing Discord and selecting the Discord node. For that configuration, we're going to set the connection type to webhook. We're going to set the credential to point to our Discord webhook account, and we're going to have the operation be send a message. The prompt that we're going to use to send the idea to Discord is going to show the index of the idea in addition to all of the details around the idea. Finally, at the bottom, we're going to create a link, and that link is going to be another webhook call that's going to be used to generate content angles for this idea. As a query parameter, we're going to include idea-id and include the unique identifier for the idea as a value. That will allow us to use that ID and look up the idea from the data store. At this point, we're done with workflow number 1. We can now select one of those ideas, and that will do a webhook call and initiate workflow number 2. Let's take a look at how to build that. Workflow number 2 starts with a webhook. You can create a webhook by clicking on the Open Nodes panel and typing webhook. In the configuration for the webhook, we're going to set the HTTP method to get, the path to generate -angles, which is the string that we passed in from the link in Discord. And we're going to make sure that our webhook URL is set. We're going to leave the rest as default authentication none and respond immediately. Next, we're going to use another data store node to retrieve the idea out of the data store. In the configuration, we're going to set the operation to get this time, and the key is going to be the query param that was passed in with the value of idea ID. Next, we're going to set up the context and inputs that we need in order to call our next prompt in OpenAI. The context is going to pass in the hooks, the angles, our pillars, and our target audience. The input fields is going to set the content idea based on the value that we retrieved from the data store. We take all of that and we use that to pass into another OpenAI node with the credentials again pointing to the OpenAI account, the resource text. We're going to message a model, ChatGPT 4.0 latest. For this prompt, we're going to pass in the actual content idea JSON structure, which has the pillar, the angle, the idea, and all the details around the content idea that we have. The output that we're going to ask ChatGPT to give us is in this structure. It's going to be an array of angles with the angle name, the pillar, the idea, a description, and then breaking down a set of hooks and points that we can include in the script that we want to generate. And again, at the bottom, you'll notice that we make reference to all of the context that we need in order to generate content angles in a way that's personalized to our content strategy and our target audience. Similar to the first workflow, we're going to add another code node that's going to extract the angles from the output coming from the LLM. Again, it's just a JavaScript that'll iterate over the angles, extract them, and put them into a JSON structure. Now we're going to fork our workflow and do two things at the same time. First, we're going to take the angles that we've generated. We're going to look up the original idea. We're going to add the angles to that idea, and then we're going to store it back into the data store. We can do that using another code node. In there, you'll see we're processing the angles. We look up the idea from the data store, and then we merge in the values and store it back into a JSON structure. Finally, we have another data store node. We set the operation to set. We use the same key, and this time we'll pass in the updated value that has the idea plus the angles. The other path of this workflow will take the content angles and send them to Discord. That again is using a Discord node. To configure this, we set the connection type to webhook. We use our Discord webhook account for the credential. We say send a message again, and the prompt is designed to show each of the angles, including its pillar, idea description, the various hooks that it's generated, and the various points that you might include in the script. Again, there's a link at the bottom that's generated as well that does another webhook call that initiates the third part of our workflow. This again includes idea ID along with the key that allows us to look up the idea from the data store, which now has been updated to include the angles along with the content of the idea. The third workflow is very similar to what we've already built. It starts with a webhook, sets some context, loads the idea from the data store, calls a model to generate the scripts, and then displays those scripts back to Discord. The generate scripts is very similar to our previous webhook. We just call it generate scripts along with HTTP method get. In the next set fields node, we set up the context that we need in order to call the model. In there, we have two context strings that we set. The first is a string that defines how to generate the scripts, along with another context that provides us with a way of evaluating whether that script is compelling. Next, we load the idea from the data store. Similar to the last time, we set the operation to get, and then we pass in the idea ID as the key. Before we call the model, we're going to set up another code node. In here, we're going to do a check to make sure that the idea actually has the angles generated, and then we're going to flatten the whole thing into a simple JSON structure that we can easily pass into the LLM. Next, we have another call to OpenAI. Similar to before, we set up our OpenAI account for the credential, set resource to text, message a model, and pick ChatGPT 4.0. This time, the prompt knows how to generate 3 types of scripts. It takes all of the information we provided on the JSON input, including the angle, the pillar, the idea, the description, the hooks, and the points. The output it's going to give us is a list of scripts, one for each of the script types: problem aware, agitation, and solution script. And again, at the bottom, we include all the context we need to run this prompt. Next, we have extract scripts, which is another code node. Similar to before, this is going to grab all of the output from the LLM and restructure it in a way that allows us to display it to Discord. And the final step is to take the generated scripts and send them back to Discord so you can review and select the one that you want. We set the connection type to webhook, we point to our Discord webhook account, set the operation to send a message, and then we set the prompt to show the actual script and the wow statement, which will evaluate the script to see how compelling it is. It may take you a day or two to create this automation, but once it's in place, the value it provides you is enormous. You can use it to generate ideas, pick the ideas that are best, and then have it automatically generate scripts for you. It's all customized to your content strategy and your target audience. With this system in place, you can spend 1 to 2 hours a week and generate all of the scripts that you need for your YouTube Shorts and TikTok videos for the entire week. If you want access to the exact N8N workflow that I showed you how to build, click on the link below and I'll give you a free copy.